sanity is what we're hoping for.
Hello, my virtual reality fanatical friends. 'Tis I, Brain Man VR. Welcome to Neuroformer Studio. Today, we've got a cracker. One of the best games. It is widely reputed to be one of the best games that virtual reality can offer in this day and age. It's a game which involves a lot of shooting, and those of you who know me will remember that I don't like games that sort of simulate aggression and murder. Not that it promotes violence in the world at large, I don't think that's true at all. I just don't think it's very pleasant to be sort of constantly stressed out by marauding attackers trying to get you. This game, very cleverly, by making everything sort of geometrical in its appearance and messing with time, enables you to sort of enjoy the accuracy of shooting at the right time, but without the sensation that you're actually killing anyone. Like they're human in form, but they don't look like any kind of human you've ever seen. So today, I will be reviewing SUPERHOT. Now, some of you may have heard of it and would be interested to know whether or not you'd like it enough to have a go. Some of you will have played it and might have found a couple of problems along the way. So, this, my friends, is for you. Let's get stuck in. This game is going to be pretty extraordinary. It's renowned as being one of the best games that's ever been made in virtual reality. I happen to agree. As you know, I have a soft spot for games which enable you to do things in virtual reality that are simply impossible in the real world. And this is one of them, because in the real world, if I move really slowly, time elapses at exactly the same time as if I move really fast. It has no effect on the passage of time. Time on the clock moves at the same speed regardless. Whereas this game, my friends, it changes everything. So, number one, I'm just going to give you my quick rundown of the 5 things that I think everyone should do to maximize their virtual reality experiences. Number 1 is make sure you have water to hand. It's thirsty work, the old VR game. And so, you're going to have to get through quite a lot of it over the course of an hour or so that you're playing. Very annoying to have to rush off to the kitchen and take everything off, so don't do it. Just have it to hand. Same with tea. Today's tea is peppermint. Forgive the keep cup. I have no clean mugs because I've just got behind on the housekeeping, you know what I mean? Numero 3. Virtual reality is brilliant because if you move around in space, it changes your brain's expectations for what you're going to hear through the 3D sound, see through the 3D 6 degree of motion images, vision, and then if you move, it makes your experience of being fully immersed in whatever environment you're in that little bit deeper. Now, obviously, if they make you sit down, then you're somewhat limited. I happen to be very biased against sit-down games. I like the standing ones. Don't always have the energy, but the standing ones are the best. Whilst old school gaming made people fat, virtual reality gaming will make people fit. Number 4, keep lots of skin on show. If you're in a really hot country, not just on your arms, on your legs. If you're in a really, really hot country, do it naked, but be careful that you don't get the thing caught between your butt cheeks because it can rip the headset off. I have a fan here pointing at me. It's not kind of going left and right on a cycle for reasons that I won't go into, but I'd recommend keeping it pointed in a straight line to help you lose heat as much as possible. And the aim of all of this, whether it's keeping your arms and or your legs bare or keeping some kind of fan blowing across it, you want to be sweating from any part of your body as you're generating heat through movement, apart from every body part apart from your forehead, because it steams up your lenses. That's very annoying. It breaks the magic. Number 5, virtual reality is very addictive, so please, I beg you, set some kind of time limit. You don't have to copy me. I play for no more than 1 hour every other day. You can set your own limits, but just have a little think about how much is too much. compare when you come out of it feeling really energized and like you want to crack on and do more great stuff, but in the real world rather than virtual reality. And then, you know, compare how long you spent there to how happy you feel. And I think you'll find that, generally speaking, if you go for shorter bursts of play, it will make you happier overall. Now, I have a little bit of news from the beach because I found some bloke trying to steal wood. Oh, is that a plank of wood? Anyway, so it's fine if you find stuff washed up. I think there are rules about finding valuable stuff, but I think pretty much you're entitled to take it. Who's going to know? But there was this bloke. You see this sort of wooden thing going down there. It's a low tide jetty which is submerged at mid tide, and he was going underneath it nicking things. And I know these people in this flat here, and they were saying how the Anchor Brewery, they can organise a piss up in a brewery apparently. They're the ones who have to repair this thing. So if this guy's nicking it, costs them an arm and a leg, number one. Number two, a boat from the Port of London Authority pulled up here when I was, you know, down here just enjoying the beach as I do. And they were taking photos. And he said to me, "Hey buddy, don't worry, I'm not taking photos of you." And I was like, "Mate, I'm not worried, but I've seen this guy nicking stuff. You should sort him out." And he's like, "That's why we're here." He was there because they keep finding timbers floating on the Thames. And as you can probably imagine, well, you've seen, right, over the course of whenever I'm there introing and outroing, there's always boats zipping up and down. And if you've got massive thick timbers from this that have been dislodged because he's been trying to nick them, and the tides come up before he's actually managed to get it loose, it means they end up floating on the Thames. And potentially, when there are these clippers, you've probably seen the catamarans, the commuter clippers going up and down. You've got the pleasure boats, the tourists on them. You've got these ones over here which have steam, what do you call them? Steamboats. You know, basically people could get hurt. Boats could sink if this idiot carries on nicking them. So anyway, I caught some footage of him in the act. So I was doing my duty, and that's the news. He got nicked. He got caught in the act, not just by me, but by the police. And now he's in custody. So I feel a bit bad because I'm sure he didn't realise that he was potentially putting people's lives at risk. But at the same time, he needed at least a slap on the wrists. So we're going to play SUPERHOT. SUPERHOT. And SUPERHOT involves a wonderful game with these sort of 3D people. They are like people made out of red precious stones. And they attack you. And you have to stab them, or throw bottles at them, or shoot them. And the amazing thing is, well, this is the first thing that is adorable about this game, which was apparently made by a few lads from Portugal. Not Portugal, Poland. So I met a guy who knew them. And given that this game is so good in VR, it's literally considered one of the best games ever made. It's amazing that they first built it as a PC flat screen game. They always wanted to turn it into a virtual reality game. Hello. But to begin with, people used to play this game, you know, on their PCs on a flat screen like this. Well, not like this, probably bigger. So I really like this old school stuff. This, for those of you not familiar with old school technology, is a floppy disk. You see that? You see that? It's a floppy disk. Hang on, how would that work? Yeah, and you stick it, this is how computers used to work, you stick it in here. And quite often if you're saving work, you would try and save the work that you've been working on here, and what would happen? It would fail to save, and you'd lose all your work, and the computer would go down. You'd have to write it all over again, which was so annoying. Anyway, having put that in here, you then grab this, head-mounted display and put it on, naturally. So, I think I've come in, this return button is new since the beginning. So, you start off in limbo, or whatever this is, in this world of loveliness, And then it's when you grab the gun or the knife and you pick it up by pressing the click button, the trigger button allows you to grab it, and then you can let go. And then each time you pull the trigger again, you shoot. Now to drop it, and I'm going to label this now, because if I do it when I'm playing, I'll screw up. To drop it, you press the lower analog button and then release, right? It's at the moment of releasing that you actually release your grip. And if the only way you can kill people is to throw things at them, you need to know that it's not when you press the downward button to release, it's when you release that downward analog button, the bottom part of this massive button in the middle. Okay, so the wonder of this game is, if you're still, nothing happens. If you move, the timing of these people coming towards you accelerates. So as I raise my arm, he starts moving, but when I stop, he slows. When I pull the trigger, they come towards you again. And then if I just dance on the spot, you see you coming towards me. If I make a sudden movement, then they'd accelerate towards me. Now, I've spent a while getting used to this game. Trust me, it's much harder than it looks. So, I reached out and I pressed the trigger to catch it. If you press the lower button, nothing happens. When you release it, it drops, right? So if you want to throw it at someone, you throw your hand back, and then at the moment you want to release your grip and let the thing fly, that's when you now release the button. And because I'm not moving, it's traveling incredibly slowly. If I move my head from side to side, it'll eventually smash against the wall. Clear as mud? Good. Right. So sometimes you have no weapon. So what do? Well, you bunch your fist and maybe let them take a swing and bop them on the nose. Although they don't have a nose. Bop. What? Bop. Now, I'll make it look easy. And if I'm brutally honest, it's because I spent 20 minutes playing this game and getting it wrong over and over and over again. And it got so embarrassing. I thought, nah, take two. So this episode might be a little bit shorter than usual, primarily because I have to go and play football. And by football, I mean proper football, the game that the entire globe plays. Right, so it's beautiful. One of the things I love about this game is how they've kind of made a really nice, simplified version of an airport security that many of us have been through many, many times before. But it's all monochrome. And I think that's so that, it saves on data processing. When I move my head around, it has to draw in every frame to make it feel like I'm really here. If you have everything really, 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 really sophisticated, like everything with perfect, like shadows and metallic colors and fluorescence maybe, then all of that, and shadows, gosh. So they've got simple shadows, but you can have shadows on shadows and shadows. And anyway, they even things like if you want to get used to the passage of time, when you stay still, everything stops moving. See those propellers in the background. And then if you move your head from side to side, they go clunk, 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 clunk. If you move your hands from side to side, so little hand movements, they move slowly. Big hand movements, and if you move all your body simultaneously, then time really speeds up. So it's not intuitive. There's no substitute for just getting in here and mucking around. Right, so the next one is where I failed over and over and over again. It was tremendously. Oh, is that where I was just then? Right, so I was down there and I've come up here. I'm going to grab this to activate with the trigger button, grab it to go into the next level. And then everything will suddenly kick off. Bang! Now I already know this chap's here, and I know to watch the bullet coming out of it as I'm grabbing. I mean, look at that. Talk about Matrix. Whoa. Okay, so I'm holding the lower analog button, and I'm going to throw it at his head, boom, and then grabbing his gun. Okay, so there's only 6 bullets in these bad boys, so do not squander it by trying to get them on the move, because typically you'll miss. Pop. Let's see if we can juggle. Oh yeah, you can really, I always hold the trigger, but you don't have to. Oh, hang on, I'm not going to be able to get that. Okay, I'll try and bang. You definitely practice throwing things, because I've played hours and hours. I've completed this game, and I didn't basically, I somehow managed to get through the levels without really knowing what I was doing. Practice the throwing, otherwise you'll be frustrated for no reason. So I guess I'm going to bash this person on the head with a cup.